Hello guys, welcome to the next episode of Get to Know the Track, this time again in Assetto Corsa Competizione on Imola in Italy, again in the Audi R8 GT3 Evo. And yeah, I'm just going to fire up the card and keep the intro as short as possible, and let's go for a couple of laps. Well, I'll try explaining my lines, my braking points, and so on. As I drive, I'll try not to spin too hard. And after that, I'll try to do a lap in silence. And after that lap, we're going to jump over into the replay, analyze this lap, where I can explain the braking points and so on a bit more in detail. When I'm not forced to do two things at once, because I can hardly even do one of them. And those two things are, of course, driving and talking. Right, here we are entering the Villeneuve chicane. Brake at the 50-meter board. Here as well for the hairpin. 50 meters, brake down to first gear. Try to keep it tighter around the corner as I did. Heading up to the next corner, I don't remember the name, sorry. Brake at the 50 meters board on the right, keep it tight on the corner on the inside. Let the car run out wide, and now Acqua Minerale. Lift off. Ooh, oh, oh. Yeah, don't do that. We're gonna have to do that next lap a bit better. Here for the chicane, Variante Alta, brake at the beginning of the curb on the left. Hit the curb on the right, not too much, but avoid the curb on the left when you exit the chicane. And now run down to Ravazza. And here on the right, 100-meter board, brake. Down to first. At the apex, stamp back on the throttle. I mean, don't stamp on it, but go back on the throttle. Exit of second Ravazza is super important. It's better to lose a bit of speed on the entry, as long as the exit is clean, because there's a rather long straight. And yeah, that was the first lap. So now again approaching the Tamburello chicane. Brake at the asphalt on the right. You can run over these curbs quite nicely. Try to keep as much speed through it as possible. Here, brake. Then as you hit the left apex, go back on the throttle a little bit to settle the car down again a bit. Whoa, that was a horrible line. And then yeah, brake again for the right-hander in the Villeneuve chicane. Here again, 50 meters. Oh, that was terrible, terrible, terrible. I'm hoping my quiet lap will go a lot better. For Acqua Minerale, either lift off or introduce a dab of brakes. Get the car turned in, then as you hit the first apex, brake down again to around second gear. I have a feeling that this time the chicane was a lot better. And again, Ravazza, 100 meters board, brake, over the apex, back on throttle, up a gear again at the apex, back on throttle, run wide but not too wide, don't get into that sand pit. Alright, and now I'll try one without talking, and after that I'll see you in the replay. Alright, 42.5, not the best, and yeah, also not my worst. But yeah, a semi-decent lap, let's call it that, around Imola. And yeah, well, thanks for sticking around for the first part, and I'll catch you in a bit in the second part, where we'll jump in the replay and analyze that last lap, and yeah, catch you in a bit. Alright, welcome to the second part, where we're going to analyze that final lap that I did. Here we are coming over the start-finish line, and coming up to the first braking point for the Tamburello chicane. And I'm going to pause the video right about here, slow down a little bit. Let's go a little bit further. So your braking markers here are the 200 board, that orange spot on the fence on the onside, and this patch of asphalt, which it is visible. It's maybe a bit less visible than those two, but yeah, that's your absolute braking marker, at least for the Audi. Might depend on other it might be a bit different for other cars or your setup, but I brake right at this patch of asphalt here, and yeah, here I am introducing brakes already, and yeah, fully on the brakes, still pointing towards this outside curb, and as I approach it, start correcting a bit to the left, and towards the end, right about here, is your turn-in point over the first curb on the inside. As you're turning, you want to start going off the brakes, trail braking, and as you approach it, start going back on the throttle. You can cut it quite a bit, even though there are these sausage curbs on the inside. They do upset the car, so don't go too much over them. But yeah, you can go a bit. You can touch them a bit with your left wheels, and it's still okay. As you're coming off the first curb, you can start introducing throttle, but not too much. Don't run too wide. Keep the car a bit to the left, on the left half of the track. As you see, I did slide here off a little bit. Because of it, I had to lift a bit more as I went onto the right side, which again, you can cut or run over the curbs quite a bit. As you see, I'm quite over the sausage curbs on the inside. It's completely fine. As you're coming off again, try not to go too much off to the left. I was here maybe a little bit too far on the left already. I don't know. You have some time to correct your line here towards the left hander again. But yeah, if you go too wide, you will have to come off the throttle when going left here, and you really don't want that. You want to take this one flat out because there's quite a bit of track afterwards. And yeah, again, pretty safe to run over it, but not too much, as I did in my attempt. As you can see here, yeah, the car is just jumping around. As you can see, it's rather unsettled. And yeah, going here on the exit curb, you can take it fully. It won't invalidate. But if you go too deep, you will invalidate, of course. But at the same time, this gravel pit will just slow you down too much. So avoid it. But yeah, do take the exit curb as much as you can. It's rather safe. It doesn't introduce any issues. It doesn't unsettle the car or anything. But yeah, do get off it quite quickly. As you can see here, it ends. You don't want to stay on the grass. And coming up to the next one, again, I will pause right here. As you can see, the 50-meter board here on the right, clearly visible. This is your turn-in and braking point reference. You want to turn in as you approach it. As you see, I'm already starting to turn to the left, aiming for the inside curb, and braking. Brake quite a bit. I go down 2 gears here. Depending on the car, you might want to go down only 1 gear. I don't know, but with the Audi, I found it best going down 2 gears and just riding the inside curb quite a lot. Yeah, like I did here. See, you again avoid the sausages on the inside because it will unsettle the car. You'll have to correct it. You'll run wide and you'll have to slow down way too much to make the next corner. Exiting here, you want to exit on the left side, right, like I am here, maybe you could go a little bit more to the right, or maybe not. I would say this is quite an okay line here. Again, as you can see, as I'm coming off the first curve, actually as I'm coming to the apex, I'm already half throttle back on. And as I'm coming off, I introduce more throttle. And then as I come off it, brake, again, a heavy braking area here. I have to go down another gear and turn in, aiming for the inside curb. Again, you can take it quite a bit. As you see here, I'm fully over the curb and it's fine. It does unsettle the car a little bit, but your speed is quite slow here, so that's not as big of a problem. Could have taken a little bit more speed, could have gotten a bit more white on the outside, but again, it's fine. Just again, as with all the other curbs before, on the outside, don't go too deep. The gravel trap here will get you. You will be slowed down or even spin because of the gravel. As you're coming up for the hairpin, again 50 meters board and that white dot, that's your braking marker. You have to brake here. And yeah, I'm already here on the brakes, fully on the brakes. Again, slow down quite a bit. I have to go down to first gear. Some cars might handle this corner in first gear, I mean in second gear. But yeah, the Audi has to go into the first one. The hairpin here first has a nice camber to it on the beginning. It does pull you in on the inside quite nicely, as you can see here. And as you come out to the exit though, right about here is where you want to start introducing throttle again, so at half point. Slowly introduce throttle while still being fully turned. Introduced quite a bit of lock here. As you can see, my driver's hands are quite twisted, and yeah, that's about the steering lock that you need here. Was maybe a bit too quick on the throttle here, or maybe not too quick on the throttle, but introduce a bit too much of the throttle. As you can see, I'm already being pulled to the outside. The track here also transitions. The camber starts going to the right, and your car starts getting pulled to the right as a result of it as well. And if you have too much throttle, that issue is also greater. And yeah, on the outside curb here is a bit bumpy. And if you go over it like I did here, it does start to kick in the TC because the wheels start spinning. And yeah, so it's rather take that corner a bit more cautiously. Don't go so much on the outside as I did. And yeah, you will gain a couple of tenths here or hundreds as well. Coming to the next one. It's a blind one, and yeah, you can see the 150 and 100 boards here, and a 50 board on the far outside here. And here, that's your braking point marker, the 50 meters board. Let's slow down a little bit. As you can see, as I'm coming next to it, I start introducing the brakes. As for turn-in, there really isn't any good turn-in point. Maybe this brown patch of grass here. I don't know if you can use this as a turning point. For me, it more comes down to the feeling of this corner, where to turn in. But yeah, you want to aim again for the inside. Maybe a bit later. As you can see, the beginning has again these two nasty sausage curbs here, or sausages. You want to avoid these. And towards the end, it doesn't have any. So yeah, you want to take this line here. You want to go deep on this curb on the inside. And yeah, just as you come off the curb, you want to start going on the throttle fully and aim around the middle here of this black rubbered up patch on the outside curb, taking care not to run out too wide. I have gone a bit too tight. I can go a full car width more to the right, as long as you keep your inside tire, your left tires, on this white line, you're good. The lap won't be invalidated. And yeah, carrying on down to Acqua Minerale. Here again, go on the left curb, extend the corner, make the flatter curve through the first part. And yeah, when I'm about 60-70 meters, I either go off the throttle or introduce a little bit of brake and turn in right on this white patch here, aiming for the inside here. Normally, if I go for a very quick lap or a qualify lap, I will try to just lift, because I will carry more speed, lose less time through this first part. But this introduces, at least for me, problems for the next braking area, as I need to slow down more. And yeah, the back end just catches me up, but we'll get more to that point. So here in this attempt, as you can see, I did go a little bit on the brakes, and I turn in, still on the brakes, and off the brakes, and again, back on the throttle. On the inside again, sausages, avoid. If you don't, that's where you'll end up, and that's where you don't want to be. And yeah, as soon as you are on the apex of this one, you can introduce a bit, let's go back a little bit. Yeah, you can go half throttle, maybe even full throttle here, but as soon as you come off it, off the curb, you want to start braking for the next one. As you're still introducing quite a bit of lock, because you're still turning here, and you have to brake, it's rather easy to lose the back end. And yeah, the natural trajectory will just pull you to the outside. So you'll have to be turning quite a bit and braking quite a bit, because the next corner is quite a slow one, and this can introduce problems. So do take care here. If it's too messy here, it would be better if you entered Aqua Minerale slower. It's better to brake here and to not be so messy on the outside here, because this will lose you just too much time. And yeah, again, heavy braking, keep that back end in check, and if it's too much, brake a bit more into the first corner, carry a bit less speed. It's better that way than to lose the car here, go wide here, because you will lose more time if you go wide here than if you go slower into the first corner. Again, aim for the inside, watch the inside sausages here again, but you can take that curb up to the sausages quite fine. I did run a little bit wide here. As you can see, the car is still being pulled to the outside. As the camber again switches a bit to the left, as you can see, the track is leaning to the left. And on the outside again, you can take this outside curb quite a bit, but if you run too wide, you have these three nasty sausages here, which will just make your car jump around like crazy. Okay, on to the exit. I don't like taking the tight line on the exit here, because there is quite a nasty bump somewhere around here on the left part of the track, which doesn't really unsettle the car, but it makes it jump up a little bit, and traction control kicks in and makes you lose time. So that's why I let it slide here out onto the right side, and then from here go back to the left. And coming up to the final chicane, the Variante Alta, again, braking markers, the 100-meter board and 50-meter board. You want to brake around in the middle of these two, right around the beginning of this curb. It is visible, but from behind, you don't see the curb yet. Like from here, but you see the 150 meters boards, and these should be your braking markers. As you come to the curb here, you want to go on the brakes. Fully on the brakes, ride the outside curb again. Could do with a bit more maybe than I am here. As for turning point, when you come towards the end of the curb, start turning in. Aim for the inside. Aim for this inside sausage here. Don't run over it too much, but you can graze it on the outside or run it a bit over towards the end here, as I did here. This is still okay. It does unsettle the car a little bit, but not too badly. But if you hit it too hard, it will throw you into a spin. And yeah, you don't want that, because yeah, if you're going to spin, you're going to be stationary, or you're going to have to be slowing down quite a lot to catch the car and to make the next left-hander. As you see here, I run over the curb and immediately turn to the left. And as I reach the left curb here, I start introducing power. Again, with this sausage is exactly the same. Graze it, don't run over it too much. That was already maybe a bit too much. As it does unsettle the car, it extends your line to the outside, and you don't want to take this curb too much, because again, it's bumpy. And also, as you can see, the track does lean a bit to the right here, so it will pull you to the right as well. it doesn't invalidate here, but the curb here is a bit bumpy again, introducing, kicking in the TC, and yeah, losing you time. And if you run too wide, these three sausages will ruin your day quite badly. All right, next, quite a nice rundown to Ravazza. You can get quite close here if you have a good exit from the chicane. Go on the outside here, outside curb, and then aim for the inside. Wait for the 100-meter board here, and just before it, right about here, start braking. This is a heavy braking area here. As the track is going downhill, you're going to be having to decelerate much more, brake much more to stop the car. And yeah, the first Ravazza corner is quite tight, and you have to take it quite slow. I have to do it in first gear in the Audi. It could maybe go in the second gear, but I feel that first gear is better. It offers a better acceleration out of the corner. And as I'm turning in, you can take the first curb quite more than I did here. It has this nice edge here. It helps you turn the car around. And as you come to the apex, go on the throttle. On the exit, again, as with all the others, you can take it quite a lot. I'm again a bit tight here. If you go too wide though, sandpit, you don't want that. And then the second Ravazza, as we're coming up to it right now here, as I'm towards the end of this curb, towards the end of these white thingies here on the outside, I introduce a little bit braking again and aim for the inside. It has again these sausages on the inside, and yeah, this corner has quite a long straight afterwards, so you want to sacrifice some speed on entry in favor of getting a better exit. And yeah, again, you can ride the curb a bit more than I did here, not too much. Really don't touch these sausages here, it will unsettle the car. You don't want that. You want a clean exit off this curb. And go fully on the throttle as you're off the curb, aiming for around the middle of this rubbered up patch here as your exit. Just don't go too wide, there's a sandpit here, it will slow you down and it will ruin your lap time. It's quite easy to lose half a second in this corner. And then it's just run down to the finish. And yeah, this is a lap around Imola, which I did in a 1:42 and 5, yeah. The time is there on the bottom if the controls will go away. Yeah, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like, leave a comment. And if you want to be notified about the future videos like these, please subscribe to the channel. And thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye.